For the past year or more, conference realignment has been pretty much the #1 subject. And there have been a lot of opinions on who was going where, when, why, whether it was a good thing, a bad thing. I haven't really entered into it very much because mostly I don't really care. Or at least don't care until it happens. My opinion wasn't going to change anything. They weren't going to listen to me. They didn't listen to me. So, of course, they screwed things up. We'll see how it goes from here. Well, now I am going to get into some of my opinions and questions on the matter. Before I do that, I would like to ask you to click the thumbs up, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. All of those things are free for you, except a little bit of time. They can help me an awful lot. And boy, I need all the help I can get. Now, well, the Big 12 is bigger. Maybe it's better, but it's bigger. And how is that going to change the conference? I'm not talking about scheduling and matters like that. I'll leave that up to the universities. They'll figure it out. They'll make do somehow. But the Big 12, the Pac-12 before. Pac-12 had been around for a long, long time. It had its traditions. It had its identity. That's gone. Now the Big 12 still exists. The Pac-12 still exists for a little while. But for a long time, the Big 12 was dominated by Texas and Oklahoma, and they weren't exactly delightful in how they handled things. But since they've said they're leaving, attitudes haven't changed all that much. The Big 12 is still the Texas-Oklahoma Conference. We're just referring to the states, not just those two schools. West Virginia didn't really belong when they came in. They don't belong now. They're not going to belong 10 years from now. And that's not so much a matter of, the Big 12 didn't want to expand. They didn't take any of these teams in, including West Virginia, because they wanted to. They took them in because they had to. It's a survival matter. Well, first it was a financial matter, but finances became a matter of survival as the greedy got greedier. And that applies to networks, schools, and some of the people who run things. And they didn't want to take in Cincinnati, Memphis, didn't want to take in Utah, Arizona. They took these guys in because it was critical to survival. Now, I highly suspect that the people who have been running the Big 12 want to continue running the Big 12. They want to continue running it their way. They want it to be the Texas-Oklahoma Conference. And everybody else is at least a little bit outside the circle. Are they going to be able to become a true national conference, to become one conference that will have to create its own brand new identity? Or are they going to become the Big 12 that just happens to have an easterly branch and a westerly branch? That's going to make a very, very big difference. And it's going to be a harder thing to control than the realignment has been. I don't know how it's going to shake out. I don't know how long it's going to take. but it is going to be a problem. And I don't know if we're going to get attitude from the other schools. Of course, we have already seen the AD from Arizona State, Ray Anderson, put in his competition for Stupid Remark of the Month. Now, some say he was joking. Maybe he was. But it was stupid. Just because it's a joke doesn't mean you should say it out loud. Tell your friends in private, it ain't funny in a press conference. And it ain't funny to the people from West Virginia. We've heard that crap way too much. We were tired of it before I was born. And I've been tired of it for a long time. Now, of course, I was mad when I first heard it. My feelings now are just send him a bunch of pepperoni rolls, let him know what he's missing, and be done with it. Now, if he happens to be a vegetarian AD, we can find something else to send him, even if it's a chunk of coal for his stocking. Now, before all of this, and since all of this, people have been saying that we need to be in the ACC, that we would belong in the ACC. No. The truth is we wouldn't belong in the ACC. Marginally, yeah, because we've got the connections with Pitt and all of that. But West Virginia is a misfit state. It is by its very nature a misfit state. We are north and south of the Mason-Dixon. We're north of this, west of that. We're everywhere. The state itself has 3 or 4 distinct cultures within it. It is not a not a neurotic state. We somehow manage to keep it together, to have some sense of identity. But it hasn't been helped by the fact that, the state has never been well run. We have never presented ourselves well to the rest of the country. We have not taken good care of our state. We have not taken good care of the people in the state. And I say we, even though I've been stuck outside of the state for many years. Given a chance, I'd be living in Morgantown. But right now, well, it comes back to those same finances. Some have a lot, some don't. But West Virginia is West Virginia. We kind of belonged in the Big East. And in some respects, maybe just because we were more to the middle of the Big East and not on the fringe. But West Virginia is going to have to learn to be psychologically independent, even while belonging to a conference where they are not entirely well thought of. And of course, we saw that at the Big 12 Media Days. Now, I don't know if it was oversight or intentional, but it was there. Well, that's fine. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that much. It hurts. But we are from West Virginia. We have taken it for a long time. And if other people have a negative opinion of us sometimes, well, it's just their mistake to think that their opinion actually matters to us. Because, they can think what they want. We're from West Virginia. Mostly proud of it, even if they do embarrass us sometimes, the politicians in particular. But we are in the Big 12, or whatever name it may take in the future. And I think it should completely change the name and figure out something that fits nationally. And as for the ACC, I reckon they're going to change their name too. It's going to become the ACC that joined the Pac-12 and no longer existing. Right now, it's the grant of rights and the length of that is holding the ACC together. Otherwise, it likely would have collapsed before the Pac-12. It is also the grant of rights that is destining the ACC to collapse, because the major teams, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, they cannot live with that contract, because it means the other major powers are making so much more money for so long that they are just getting farther ahead. It's going to cost a lot of money, but somehow Florida State, Miami, Clemson, somebody is going to find a way out, going to knock down a wall, going to pay their way out, something. Because they have to. If they want to remain or regain their status, truth is, Florida State, Miami have not been powers for quite some time. Clemson was a power for a brief time and might or might not regain it. But they all want it. They want that shot at maintaining power. And if they're going to do that, they have to have a much, much better TV contract. That's what is fueling so much these days. Now, of course, the networks, if they keep this up, they're going to crash and burn too. But the truth, there's no reason why, the networks really care if the ACC breaks up. Right now, they've got them cheap. They like that. Well, if it breaks up and some of the big schools go to other conferences that the networks already have contracts with, they modify those contracts a bit. They still get all of the big teams. And if you break it down to a per team percentage, they may get those teams at an even better deal than they're getting them in the ACC. Now, is there a point at which we just get television overload? Even with college football, people love it. But how long do they want to watch football? There's a limit. Do we start at 11 a.m. and keep watching till midnight? I don't know. We can't keep on this route. Eventually things will crash and burn if we do. But for now, this is where we're at. West Virginia is in the Big 12. The ACC is either going to find some magic or they're going to collapse within the next year or two. It could start before August is out. And West Virginia will endure. That's what we do. We don't fit, and we maybe don't elect the best people to be in charge of the state, but we endure. Thanks for listening to me ramble. This is my philosophical speech for the day, my soapbox stand. Hope you will come back. I'll be talking more football, West Virginia football, very soon. Tomorrow, they're in full pads and hitting. We're going to have things to talk about. I'll see you then.